Okay, so I didn't think that this was going to be the very first video that I posted on this channel, but I've been meaning to post something for a couple of weeks now, and I just haven't done it. And I'm starting to realize that that may have something to do with my disability. So, just to introduce myself, my name is Alexis. I believe I have AuDHD, and I don't want, so I can already see like people making comments like, oh my God, another person who thinks that they're autistic based off of watching a bunch of TikToks, which wasn't my case. I never thought, well, not never, but I didn't really suspect that I might be autistic until like a couple of years ago. And then I banished that idea from my head because I didn't have a lot of the stereotypical symptoms of or traits of autism. And I have a sibling. I have oh my God, I can't talk. I have a sibling that has autism. I'm sorry, you guys. I'm nervous. I have a sibling that has autism, and it's very apparent that they have autism, while as mine is not. And I recently done like a ton of research and realized that's because males have different traits than females do, and with girls or women, it's very difficult to see those autistic traits because we're so good at masking, so good at it that we don't even realize that we're masking. Like a year ago, I think I started to suspect that I might be autistic again because of, I've been struggling a lot with just navigating and just living my life. So I started to think like, maybe this has something to do with the tism. Because I feel like it's not as, or it doesn't seem as hard for other people as it does for me. And so I will be having my autism assessment towards the end of this month, and I will talk about those results once I'm done with that and I'm able to process it. But I recently did like an interview. It's like a pre-screening before we actually do the official assessment. So I did like a pre-screening, and the assessor basically had asked me like, oh, has anyone ever told you that you might be ADHD? And I was like, yes, because fairly recently, actually, my therapist suggested that I might have ADHD because I think I kept interrupting her during our sessions. And so she was like, you know what, I'm going to have you take an ADHD test, and we're going to go over that in our next session. And it wasn't like a thorough examination, but the results were basically that I might be ADHD and I might not be ADHD. It wasn't really clear. And now I'm starting to think maybe that's because I have both. And I've also been watching a lot of videos where, people who have AuDHD have talked about like a lot of their experiences and their traits, and it's starting to sound very similar to me. So I think I might have both actually, and I'm starting to, every day that passes, I'm becoming more convinced that I have it. And I was like struggling before with just the autism self-diagnosis, and now I feel like I definitely do have both, because I'm pretty much like a walking contradiction, and now everything is starting to make sense. And so recently I started thinking about something that happened to me in the past that I connected the dots and realized that it was a result of my PDA, which stands for Pathological Demand Avoidance, and it's something that I always have known that I had. However, I never had like an exact word for it. I just remember when I was younger and people would demand certain things of me, I would just not want to do it. And I was told like that wasn't a real thing, and that, I was just lazy. And now I know it was actually a result of my PDA. But I recently connected something that happened to me in the past to PDA because it still bothers me to this day, because I can't really. So let's go back to the beginning. Let's go back to the beginning. But yeah, so I'm so awkward. So when I was in elementary school, I would draw a lot, and I was very much into drawing. Because I had seen my great grandmother draw, and I remember being so enamored by the fact that she could make something, like draw something on paper. I just thought that that was such a magical thing to be able to do. And so I wanted to be able to do it. And she basically told me to go get a dictionary. I had like a picture dictionary at the time. Oh my God, I love that dictionary. And she told me to pick like a picture in it and draw that. So I did that. Eventually, I started to get, a little bit better at drawing. I wouldn't say that I was Pablo Picasso or anything, but I was pretty good at drawing. And my elementary art school teacher, my elementary art teacher, realized that I could draw. And so she had asked me if I wanted to enter in some art contests. And I said yes. I don't think that I really knew what I was signing up for at the time. I think I was just excited because someone had like an interest in me, which is very sad to say, but I think that that was probably the case because I did not like being a part of these contests, because of like how critical I feel like I was of myself. And I would place like, I would get in second place every single time. And even though second place is good, I would like beat myself up about not being in first place. And seeing like everyone else's drawings kind of made me feel bad. I also felt like I didn't have a lot of support from family. However, that also was partially my fault. But I was also a child. So, I mean, my mom would never show up to my art contest, which I'm sure she knew about. Or if she didn't know about it, she should have, because she's my mother. I think she only showed up to one art contest that I had. It was like they had like a whole ceremony for the winners, and she came to that, and that was the only one I remember her coming to. As well as, actually, that's not true. So she came to the very last one when I decided that I didn't want to do art contests anymore, and I won third place in that. And after winning like third place, I was like, okay, I'm done with this. I don't want to do it anymore. So I stopped entering in art contests. That was after I graduated from elementary school. And when I went to middle school, towards like the end of middle school, when I had to start looking at like high schools I wanted to go to, my mom was very much convinced that I needed to go to an art school for my high school years. And I did not want to do this, mainly because I enjoyed art as a hobby and didn't really enjoy it when like other people wanted me to draw things for, like I would have like people, like kids at school who would ask me like if I would draw certain things for them. Didn't really want to do that. I was like, I have no interest in doing that. I just like to draw. And anyway, my mom wanted me to go to this prestigious art school. And I remember when we went for the interview, I wasn't happy about it because I had expressed that I did not want to go to this art school. And she basically had ignored that. And I remember just being upset during the whole interview because I just didn't want to be there. And I remember one of the judges for the interview had basically said that I almost didn't get in because of my portfolio that I submitted. But what eventually led to me getting into the school was the still life drawing, the still life drawing that I did during the interview process. And I remember after the interview process, I think I like cried, and my mom obviously assumed that it was because I was worried about not getting into the school, even though I had told her multiple times that I did not want to go there. And she had like stopped us in the middle of the street to pray that I would get into the school. And while she was praying for me to get into the school, I was praying that I did not get into the school because I didn't want to go there. So anyway, I got in, and I did kind of enjoy certain aspects of the school, but as a whole, I just didn't want to be there, because I had like, it's basically broken up into like, you would take regular classes and then halfway through the day you would take all art classes. And I just really didn't like it. I didn't like it at all. And I didn't really do good at that school. I even had like a family member come to the school directly to like congratulate me on my first day there. And I remember after they left, I basically cried because I didn't want to be there. It's a time in my life where I get very emotional about when I think about it. I think because that kind of destroyed my desire to draw. And I've drawn like here and there throughout the years, but because of that whole experience, I've stopped drawing. And I eventually flunked the first year there because I just didn't want to be there. But the reason that I brought it up is because I connected the dots that it was more than likely my PDA, and that's why I just didn't do very well. But I just want to know, like, because I don't have any friends or anyone that I feel comfortable talking about this topic with, because anytime I have conversations with my family about it, they tend to gaslight me. So I just wanted to know if any of you guys have any kind of experience, like any similar experience like this. So I just wanted to know if you guys had any like similar experience to this, to PDA, and if you would classify this as like a PDA experience, because I definitely do think that it has something to do with my PDA. And that's why I just haven't drawn for years. And yeah, I just recently got very emotional about that. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you guys in my next one real soon. Bye.